is that? Who is that beautiful creature right there? Oh no, they're coming towards me. Who is this? Hello. I'm confused on what's going on here. Do I just like continue recording? Welcome back to Yapping with Peachy. Today we're going to be talking about a topic that I've been wanting to talk about for some time and I've talked a lot about in streams, and that is school and how I dealt with school and my journey with school, because I feel like it's a big love-hate relationship, and I feel like a lot of you will agree with what I'm about to talk about. I try to do yapping videos weekly, so if you enjoy yapping videos or hearing me yap, I stream on weekends and I also post these weekly, which the playlist will be in the description. I'm going to be playing on the Rift REDM today, and I'm going to be training my Turkoman Finch, and I'm going to hope and pray that there is a training spot open. Before we get into it, I bought boba. Where did I buy boba? Walmart. It's not bad. It's not bad at all. Let me get some balls. Oh, hold on. I don't think I'd buy it again, but it's not bad. So I'm pretty sure there's people training over at the jumping arena, so I'm not going to be doing that because I don't want to share a training course with anybody because I lose concentration and then I end up like hogging the training place and I would feel bad. So let's venture off and go find another training place. I think the flat racing. Reined cow horse. Okay. He's not a cow horse, but let's try it, all right? From a very young age, I struggled to concentrate. A lot of people will hear this and go, oh, you probably have ADHD, ADD, you probably have a little bit of a disability, a learning disability, no biggie, right? Back when I started school, those things still were so foreign. My teachers would refuse to believe that I had a disability because, like my spelling teacher, which I'll talk about, said I was, quote, too normal to have a disability. I don't really know anything about a lot of other social and psychological disabilities. So when I talk about this, please know that I'm talking about it from my own personal experience. I do encourage you to share your own experience in the comments. That way I can be educated, because I do love hearing about people's experiences and what they've gone through in school. Let's go do the dressage. I kind of want to go do the dressage. I want to go do the dressage. When I was in school, my mom would get calls all the time saying, hey, your daughter like interrupted class today. My God, I'm redesigning the course. Your daughter did this, your daughter did that. You're gonna have to come in and talk to us. And during like parent-teacher conferences, she would get told, hey, your daughter like actually does not concentrate. She just talks to the other kids. I would make friends so quick in class because I would not shut up. I was a yapper, all right? I was a yapper from day one. I was recording and it cut out again, so I have to re-record the entire thing. I'm on a different horse because I maxed the other horse talking. I talked for 20 minutes, so let's redo this. My teachers didn't think I had ADHD because they thought a, quote, normal person like me would not have ADHD. They really categorized ADHD and ADD and all those with like, quote, special needs and like the special classes. I think and I hope a lot of teachers now are more educated on ADHD and ADD, and it's not as rare or as drastic as they think it is. Started having problems concentrating in class from a very young age. I would always be talking to students. I would always be not paying attention. And, you know, I was just a very social kid. I was a very happy kid. I was always happy to talk. I was a yapper from a young age. It was definitely something that my teachers didn't like. And I mean, what teacher does like a kid interrupting class? Completely fair for them not to like me that much. When I went to school, I had a ton of anxiety. My anxiety started from a young age, and because I was a people pleaser, I was just constantly like, am I doing something wrong? I assumed all the teachers hated me, and it was just a really bad time anxiety-wise. My mom didn't understand the anxiety part until I was a little bit older. What I really remember is in 6th grade, I started having problems with math. I just wasn't able to do math correctly. I would mix up my letters and my numbers. Obviously, I'm not doing algebra in 6th grade, but we did dabble a lot in numbers and letters being mixed together. Formulas and stuff like that, I wasn't able to do correctly or well because I found out later in life I had something called dyscalculia. In the easiest way possible, it's like dyslexia, but with numbers. There's obviously more to that in depth, but that's just the basic way I explain it to people is I have dyslexia, but with numbers instead of letters. So from 6th grade and on, I really struggled with math. I couldn't understand math well. I was put in undergrade math, which just means I was put in a grade below my normal grade for math, and I would go to another classroom or another like part of the school for math. I loved my math teacher though. She was great. Because of my anxiety, I would get stressed a lot. I would get so easily stressed that I would start having getting stomach aches. And I also had problems with my immune system. I would get UTIs, which is a urinary tract infection. I would get them super easily when I was a kid. I would just get them randomly. My mom took me to a doctor, and the doctor basically said, hey, your daughter's just really stressed. My mom would tell my teachers, hey, stop stressing my daughter out. Some teachers just shouldn't be teachers. And it wasn't because I was a bad kid. It was just, they were just mean for no reason. Them teaching just is not the best idea. Maybe pick another career path. Have you ever met those teachers that are just mean? They're just mean teachers. They're not even like strict. They're just mean. I started having panic attacks, and I was 11 at the time. So having panic attacks at 11 is not great. It's not a good thing. Well, any panic attack is not great, but having panic attacks at 11, I remember I had a panic attack and my mom saw me and she was like, hey, what's going on? What's happened? What's poppin'? And I told my mom everything that's been going on, and I said, I can't do it anymore. Like, I genuinely cannot go to school. Anytime I went to school, I got such bad anxiety, and my anxiety was so bad, it was starting to kind of sink into other parts of my life. And it was starting to ruin other parts of my life. I was struggling in other parts of my life. I was starting to take a toll on my mental health. I was really irritable all the time. Like, I was just mean. I was a mean 11-year-old, and my mom kind of noticed that. And, from your kid to go from happy and helpful to mean and just not wanting to be around anybody, there's reasons for that. Kind of going back a little bit in time, we moved around a lot. Around every 2 years we would move. And no, my dad was not in the military. A lot of people ask that. My dad had a lot of jobs, and he would want his family to come with him when he moved, which is understandable. That's his family. So we moved around a lot, and because of that, I never had a really stable place. School, friends, all that stuff, it would switch around every 2 years. So it was also a problem for that too. My mom pulled us out of school every time we moved, but she would never pull us out of school in between. This is the first time that it really dawned on her, like, do I have to pull my kid out of school? Like, how do I do this? We had been homeschooled before, but, she was like, what do I do? I wasn't prepared for this kind of stuff. She talked to them about online school, but they were like, no, you have to come to school. We don't offer an online program. Keep in mind, homeschooling and online school and all that wasn't super popular back then. Even when I was a kid, online school wasn't a huge thing. It was mostly for kids who were traveling a lot, or who had medical problems and couldn't go to school, or whose parents also were traveling a lot and they couldn't, cater to their needs. Online school was more of like a perk than a solution. So my mom didn't really see a reason to put me in online school. Well, after I had that breakdown, she went to my teachers and said, hey, listen, we need to fix this. We need to figure out something. Absolutely terrible. They blamed my mom. They said that she didn't teach me well enough, that she didn't teach me manners. When I took tests, I was nervous because she made me nervous, and she enabled my disabilities. I don't know. I just want to say that I wasn't diagnosed at the time for ADD or ADHD. They counted it as a disability, and I do know that in a lot of ways, ADHD and ADD, because it's a spectrum, I'll just say ADHD from now on, because ADD isn't even a thing anymore, apparently, in the DSM-5. ADHD is a spectrum. So in some ways, it is considered a disability because it disables somebody to do something properly. That's what a disability is. I'm just saying that mine isn't considered a disability, but my teachers were saying that, hey, if she's disabled, it's your fault. My mom kept me in school, I think, for a week more, and I went to the guidance counselor. I was struggling with a lot. I was getting bullied in school, just lightly, it wasn't anything crazy. And I went to the guidance counselor, and the guidance counselor told my mom, hey, I want to screen her. I want to screen her and get her tested for ADD. So she did a screening for me. She got me screened or whatever. She got me tested, and I fit all of the brackets for ADD. I was a classic case of ADD. Well, my guidance counselor told my mom, hey, listen, I think it would be really good if she gets medicated now because she's young and she has so much to learn, and her ADD is really making her struggle. My ADD was causing me to have anxiety. It was making me stressed. It was making me tired because my brain would just be not working right. And my mom said no. She just didn't think that I needed meds. She said, listen, let's wait for her to choose that for herself. In my opinion, that is abuse. It is abuse to revoke medicine that your kid needs in order to not suffer in school. I didn't really have any hard feelings about it until later in life when I realized that my school life could have been a lot easier if my mom had medicated me. I was never diagnosed. I was only screened and tested and given a result. I did get diagnosed later in life, which I'll be talking about. In 6th grade, I got super sick for 1 week, and my teachers were calling my mom being like, hey, your daughter needs to come to class. This is ridiculous. My mom was just so fed up. She had 3 other kids she was taking care of. So she was like, bro, what is this? What is wrong with this school? She called the principal, and the principal was like, hey, if you're having any issues, I would really recommend online school. So my mom just wasn't getting any help from the school in this scenario. She took me out of school. 3/4 into the year, and she took me out of school and she put me into online school. 2 years later, that school got bulldozed to the ground. So like, I actually bulldozed it to the ground. No, I'm kidding. I did 7th grade online, and then 8th grade, halfway into my 8th grade year, I started going to a private school because we had moved and the schools where all my friends went, so I decided to go to private school. I think I noticed really quick that when I was at school, I had really bad anxiety, so I would mask all of my anxiety. And because of this, when I got home, I was so freaking tired. I don't know how kids go home these days and just do homework for like hours and then go back to school. It's ridiculous, in my opinion, that kids have to go to school and then come home and have to do homework for the remainder of their day. It's an actual prison sentence. Kudos to the teacher who allow kids to bring their notes into tests and make the kids, you know, work a little bit less for things that they're going to learn anyways. I would dissociate at school. There would be some days where I'd come home and I didn't even know what happened that day. I'd be like, oh, I'm home. Okay. Like, it's just, my brain just reconnected. There were times where I would just fall asleep in school. I would fall asleep at my desk. I wouldn't even remember falling asleep. I would just fall asleep and wake up and I would get, you know, scolded like, hey, don't fall asleep in class. My 8th grade year was decent. So the 9th grade year, I went to the same private school. And keep in mind, this is a private school and I already lived in a small town. So I had around 6 students in my class and my sister had around 9 in her class. So the school was very small. So because of this, teachers paid more attention to each student, and you would think that because teachers had more time to dedicate to each student that they would, but no, there were some students that were just favoritized, and it was sad to see. For example, I had a really good friend and one of our teachers loved her. She got away with anything she wanted. We had the same answers on a history test and she got a B and I got an F. Make that make sense. School brought me nothing. No joy, no happiness. I barely felt like I was learning anything. I learned more on Wikipedia and on big websites and on just surface researching than I did in school. I'm not saying school isn't useful. I learned a lot in school that I use to this day, but I feel like school, if it's not really teaching you all that you should be taught, then why are you even going? So my 9th grade year, my freshman year of high school, but I was always kind of like an outcast. I had friends. I didn't really make a lot of friends until sophomore year, but I had friends, but they were just like not the best friends, you know? Girl, get up, you're fine. I was doing good until I just had a break. I remember exactly the day it happened. We went to see the new Star Wars movie, you know, the one with like Rey, and I think his name is Finn, I forgot his name. My dad leaned over and whispered to me and my sister, hey, are you guys gonna tell your friends about this at school tomorrow? Like, it's super cool. And I realized, oh my gosh, today's Sunday, tomorrow's Monday. We have to go to school tomorrow. And I had a full-on mental break. The moment we got home, I walked into the kitchen and I started sobbing my eyes out. My mom walked up and was like, girlie, what's going on? And I just couldn't even talk. I was unintelligible. I was like Bibble from the Barbie movie. My mom kind of realized that school was doing more harm than good. And I think she's realized that from the beginning, but what can moms do, you know? You can't really take your kid out of school because that means online school, and my mom was already like so busy that she couldn't just moderate all of the work we were doing. My mom didn't really know what to do. She called my principal the next morning, made me stay home from school, and she talked with the principal and they figured out that she decided that the best course of action right now for me is to go in once a week and get homework and all of like the curriculum and stuff, and then the end of that week or the next week you would bring it back and then get more homework. So I'd basically be doing all of my studies at home. I would be doing what they're doing in class. Did great on everything except for math. I like literally never did my math homework because I didn't understand it, and my mom just like did not care. She's like, whatever, you know, like your teacher can figure it out. It like healed me. It healed me mentally. I was able to choose when I could do my homework, and most of the time it was during the day, like when I could concentrate, but sometimes it was late at night, as long as I got it done. Sometimes I would spend like a whole day doing homework to catch up, but it's okay because those other days I was able to rest and take time off of school. I just remember how easy it was. It was so simple, you know? I would go into class and take tests. I would take like 2 or 3 tests every like month because I would go in on the same day to take those tests. All of my siblings were at school all day, so it was very, very peaceful in my household, and it was just nice. It was calming. 10th grade happened, sophomore year. I decided to go to public school because not only is private school freaking expensive, but the private school offered nothing special. A private school is meant to offer like quote top of the line education, and it's meant to provide like a special place for your kids to get like that extra sprinkle, literally just charged you to give you trauma. So my parents enrolled me and my sister in public school. I love this way better. I made a lot of friends. I was able to do a lot more. And I just made a lot of connections there, like some that I still have to this day. None of them have found my YouTube channel though. Let's just hope it stays that way. I probably just jinxed it. I just remember like it was a very simple year. We left 3/4 out of the year because we were moving again. I did online school and then I graduated at 17. I didn't do a lot of schoolwork for my junior and senior year. You know, junior and senior year is basically where you take your AP, your honor classes. This is where you prepare for college. And it's very stressful for a lot of students, but I didn't do any of that because I kind of knew that I just wanted to go to community college. I wanted to get my core classes done cheap before I went to a 4-year university or like a bigger university, because those classes are crazy expensive. My first 2 or 3 tests in college algebra, I flunked them. Like, I got bad grades. And my college algebra professor, she was very, very sweet. She came up to me and was like, hey, what's going on? Is everything okay, like at home? At college, you see all types of people. Half my classmates were moms and dads and they didn't have time to study. So she assumed maybe like, hey, she's just going through something at home. I can't concentrate. I don't know how to explain it. Well, she came up to me and she brought a paper over. And she said, hey, you submitted this a couple of days ago and I haven't graded it yet because I don't know how to. And she showed it to me and all of my A's and 4's were mixed up. All of my 9's and 6's were mixed up. I would write down the questions wrong. I would mix up letters and numbers really badly. And she said, I think you have dyscalculia. And I've heard it before. I've heard the term before. So I knew what she was talking about, but I didn't think I had it because I thought you had to be diagnosed. And I was like, I don't know what that means. You know, I know like what dyscalculia is, but I don't know what it means to have it. Like, what do I do? I kind of felt like stupid. I felt dumb because, you know, when you're told you have this like dyslexia or dyscalculia, you feel like, okay, well, how can I fix it? Well, there's no fixing it. There's only strengthening your mind and doing what you can to get around it. Well, she said, I know that digital tests help a lot. So looking at a computer, I can't really confuse the numbers on a computer because they're digital and not paper. On paper, there's something with my brain where it messes up my numbers. That's why I like doing a lot of my numbers and financials on my computer whenever I do them, because I don't slip up the numbers too bad. But for my next test, she put me in a quiet room by myself. I was able to play music and she left me alone, you know, monitored me sometimes, but you know, she just left me alone. I got a 107 on that test, passed it, and then got the bonus questions right because I had my own space to relax and I had my own space to be silent, be quiet, and I wasn't distracted by all this noise and all these people and the coughing and the clicking of pens and the, you know, just the ambiance of a classroom. I was by myself and I was able to concentrate fully. I reached 10K on her, but I only have a little bit of talking left to do, so I'm gonna grab another horse and just do a little bit more training. After college, I moved away from home, and throughout this, I had such bad anxiety attacks. I had really bad anxiety, and some of these would just be rooted from nothing. There wouldn't be a reason for these anxiety attacks. I would just have them and I wouldn't be able to control them, and I would just, any sort of stressful situation, I'd be like, okay, I need to go into my car and I need to cry. When I moved back home, I started to see a psychiatrist and they screened me for all types of things. She diagnosed me with ADHD. She did say, okay, you probably do have ADD, but we don't even diagnose that anymore. ADD doesn't even exist anymore. It's just all ADHD. They didn't want to put me on a stimulant because on the ADHD test, my response times and my react times were amazing. So she's like, we want to keep you away from stimulants because stimulants can actually enhance anxiety, especially something like Adderall, which is going just to mess you up more. I mean, I don't know if that's true. I've never tried any stimulant, so I don't know. They decided to put me on bupropion, which is generic for Wellbutrin, and this is an antidepressant, but it kind of falls under like the everything area. It treats depression, it treats anxiety, it treats ADHD, it treats binge eating, any addiction, medication, like it treats basically anything. I started taking this on like low doses and I didn't really notice anything. I noticed some changes, like it did like hardwire my brain. Like I was able to do a lot more during the day. What bupropion does is it gives your brain dopamine. She upped the dosage more and it started to help a little bit, but still like it didn't really give me a lot of help psychologically. I still struggle with a lot, but it did help with my anxiety. I really didn't think twice about things. If I really wanted to like confront something, I'd be like, all right, let's do it. I went from like, oh, like maybe I should think about this. Nope, just do it. which sounds dangerous, but I never did anything dangerous with that power in my mind. I would just be able to do a lot of things easier without overthinking them. It really did help my anxiety. I've only been on this medication for a little over a year, so I still have room to switch, but it's been working okay enough for me to be scared to switch. I am scared of changing things that I've been given. So like, I'm scared to stop taking them because what if it works horribly, and what if I should have never changed it and changing would have been bad? I guess I won't know until I do it, but I will always shit talk school. I'm sorry, but I will always say no to school, and I probably will never go back to college in the future unless it's something that I really want to get a degree on. I will always tell people to choose an online option if they're struggling with school. Some people love school, some people find comfort in school, and sometimes school is better than home. If you have a horrible home situation and you find school as your home, then I can understand that. I don't think that kids should be forced to go to school if they're struggling that bad in it, because it can ruin someone's mental health. It can make someone make decisions that they shouldn't, if you know what I mean. And I will sympathize with parents who can't take the time to put their kids in online school because whether their kids, you know, need to stay home alone and they don't feel comfortable with that, or their parents want them to have social interaction. Also, if you show your parents this video and say, look mom, just Peachy said I can not do school. No, I was lucky to have a mom who understood and took me out of school when I needed to be taken out of school, but if I had been medicated, I don't know if I ever would have dropped out of school the amount of times I did. I would love to know what you guys think of the situation, whether you've had your own experience or you want to voice your own concerns about school. I'd love to hear all types of opinions, so if you like school, let me know, you know, what do you like about school? All I ask is you keep the comment section drama free, or I will be smacking people with a skillet. Comment your own story. I love to read through them and reply to them and to interact with you guys. That's kind of what the yapping videos are for, is for you guys to interact with me and with other viewers, and also suggest some other yapping topics because I'm kind of running out of them and I want to yap about stuff you guys can also yap back about. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you all have an amazing rest of your day. Stay healthy and safe and hydrated, and I will see you in the next video or stream.